I didn't panic when I found the envelope taped inside my spare tire compartment. My hands were steady as I peeled it away, feeling the weight of cash through the paper. I knew exactly who put it there. My son Marcus. And I knew, right then, standing in my driveway in East Cobb on a Tuesday afternoon with grease on my hands from changing a flat tire, that everything was about to change. Let me back up. My name is Denise Carter, and I'm 62 years old. I spent 34 years working as a cafeteria manager at Walton High School before I retired 3 years ago. I raised my son Marcus mostly on my own after my ex-husband moved to Alabama when Marcus was 11. We did okay. Not rich, not struggling, just steady. I taught Marcus to work hard, tell the truth, and take care of family. I thought those lessons stuck. Marcus is 39 now. He's married to a woman named Tasha, who works in healthcare administration at Northside Hospital. They have a daughter, my granddaughter, Nia, who just turned 8. She's the light of my life. I pick her up from school twice a week, make her snacks, help with homework, listen to her talk about her friends and her dreams. When I look at Nia, I see everything good that's still worth protecting in this world. For the past 2 months, Marcus had been asking to borrow my Ford Explorer. Just for some work errands, Mama, he'd say. My car's acting up again. I didn't think twice about it. That's what mothers do. We help, we say yes, we trust. But something had been off. Marcus was losing weight, not the good kind. His eyes were always moving, checking his phone every 30 seconds like he was waiting for bad news. When I asked if everything was okay, he'd snap at me, then apologize too quickly. Just work stress, Mama. I'm fine. Quick question. Where are you watching from? And if you love family revenge stories where the truth hits hard, hit like and subscribe right now, because this one is about to get ugly. That Tuesday afternoon, I was in my driveway getting ready to take the Explorer to Costco when I noticed the back right tire was flat. Not just low, completely flat. I grabbed my jack and spare from the cargo area, and that's when I saw it. A thick manila envelope taped to the inside wall of the spare tire compartment. Hidden where no one would ever look unless they were doing exactly what I was doing. I pulled it free carefully, my heart starting to pound. Inside was $2, $800 in cash, $20 bills, neatly banded, and a hotel keycard from a Marriott in Buckhead. There was also a small piece of paper with an address I didn't recognize and a time, Thursday, 9 p.m. I stood there in my driveway, the envelope in my hands, and I felt something shift inside me. This wasn't work money. This wasn't some innocent errand. My son had hidden this in my vehicle without telling me, thinking I'd never find it. Using me, using my clean record, my safe suburban mom mobile, as cover for something he knew was wrong. I didn't call him. I didn't confront him. Instead, I did something smarter. I took out my phone and photographed everything. The cash, the key card, the note, the exact spot where the envelope had been taped. Then I put it all back exactly as I found it, smoothed down the tape, and closed the cargo door. I changed my tire like nothing had happened, drove to Costco, bought groceries, came home, made myself a cup of tea, and sat at my kitchen table. The same table where I'd helped Marcus with his homework, where we'd celebrated birthdays and holidays, where I'd held him when his father left. And I smiled. Not because I was happy, but because for the first time in 2 months I understood what was happening. Marcus thought I was clueless. He thought he could use me and I'd never notice. He was counting on the fact that I loved him, that I trusted him, that I would never look too closely. He was wrong. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg him to tell me the truth. I was going to do something harder, something that would break my heart but might save his life. I was going to find out exactly what my son was involved in, and then I was going to stop him. because that's what mothers do when their children are drowning. We don't stand on the shore and watch. We dive in, even when the water is dark and cold and full of things that might pull us under too. I finished my tea, washed the cup, and opened my laptop. I had work to do. Marcus returned my Explorer on Sunday evening, 3 days after I found the envelope. I watched him from my living room window as he pulled into the driveway. He didn't get out right away. He sat in the driver's seat for a full 7 minutes, phone pressed to his ear, looking around like he was checking for witnesses. When he finally came inside, he was sweating, despite the November chill. "Thanks, Mama," he said, handing me the keys. His hands were shaking slightly. "You're a lifesaver." "Anytime, baby, you know that." He hugged me, quick, tight, guilty, and left. I stood at the door, watching his taillights disappear down Pine Hollow Drive, and I felt something I'd never felt before when looking at my son. Fear. Not of him, but for him. As soon as he was gone, I went out to the Explorer with my phone flashlight. I checked the spare tire compartment first. The envelope was gone. Whatever Marcus was doing, he'd completed it. The cash and keycard had been delivered to whoever was waiting. But he'd left something behind. Wedged under the passenger seat, I found a crumpled receipt from Whitaker Auto Bays, dated 4 days earlier. The transaction was for Bay 7 monthly rental. And tucked into the seat crack was a second set of keys. Small, brass, the kind that open padlocks. I sat in the passenger seat and Googled Whitaker Auto Bays Atlanta. It came up immediately. A small operation off Roswell Road in Marietta that rented detached garage bays for vehicle storage and light repairs. The website showed a row of plain metal garage doors behind a chain-link fence. Nothing fancy, nothing that would draw attention. My son had a secret garage. A place I knew nothing about. A place he was paying for monthly. For what? I felt sick. That night, I called him. I kept my voice soft, careful. "Marcus, baby, I need to ask you something. Are you in some kind of trouble?" There was a pause. Too long. "Mama? No, why would you ask that?" "You just seem stressed lately. If something's going on, you can tell me. Whatever it is, we can figure it out together." "I'm fine." His voice was smooth now, controlled. Too controlled. "Just picked up some side work doing deliveries for extra cash, trying to save up for Nia's private school tuition. You know how expensive that is." It was a good lie, almost believable, except I knew my son. I knew when he was telling the truth and when he was performing. "Okay, baby, I just want you to know I'm here if you need me." "I know, Mama. I love you." "I love you too." After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen for a long time, staring at the receipt and the keys. Every instinct I had as a mother wanted to believe him. Wanted to accept the lie because the alternative was too painful. But I couldn't. Because if Marcus was in trouble, real trouble, waiting and hoping wouldn't save him. Ignoring it wouldn't make it go away. And loving him didn't mean protecting him from consequences. Sometimes it meant delivering them before something worse happened. I made a decision that night. I wasn't going to beg Marcus to come clean. I wasn't going to give him another chance to lie to my face. Instead, I was going to find the truth myself. Financial exploitation and criminal activity often involve secrecy and use of family members' resources without their knowledge. The next morning, I went online and ordered 2 things: a dash cam that could stream live video to my phone, and a small GPS tracker, one of those AirTags that people use to keep track of luggage. Both would arrive in 2 days via Amazon Prime. Then I sent Marcus a text, casual and warm. "Hey baby, I'm getting the Explorer detailed on Thursday. Can you pick it up Wednesday night and bring it back Friday morning? Save me a trip to the shop." His response came in less than 3 minutes. "Sure, Mama, I got you." I stared at that message. 3 words. So simple, so trusting. He had no idea what I was about to do. Because when Marcus picked up my Explorer on Wednesday night, he wouldn't just be borrowing a vehicle. He'd be carrying cameras and a tracker. He'd be leading me straight to whatever secret he was hiding. And this time, I'd be watching everything. I sat there in my kitchen, hands steady, heartbreaking, and I whispered a prayer. Not for the truth to be small, not for Marcus to be innocent, but for the strength to do what needed to be done, no matter how much it hurt. Because sometimes love looks like betrayal, and sometimes saving someone means breaking them first. Georgia law generally permits one-party consent recording when you're a participant in the conversation, which can provide legal documentation of concerning behavior. The dashcam and AirTag arrived on Thursday afternoon in discreet Amazon packaging. I opened them at my kitchen table like I was defusing a bomb, my hands shaking slightly as I read the instructions. The dashcam was small, about the size of a deck of cards, and mounted behind the rearview mirror with a suction cup. It connected to my phone through an app, letting me watch live footage or review recordings from anywhere. The AirTag was even simpler. A white disc the size of a quarter that I could track through my iPhone. I bought a magnetic case for it online and had it shipped overnight. I spent Friday afternoon installing everything. The dashcam took 3 tries before I got it positioned right, angled to capture the windshield view and anyone approaching the driver's side. I synced it to my phone, tested it twice, and watched myself on the screen, waving at the camera like an idiot. The AirTag went into its magnetic case, and I stuck it under the rear bumper of the Explorer, tucked up into a spot where you'd never see it, unless you were lying on your back looking for it. When I was done, I sat in the driver's seat and pulled up the tracking app on my phone. A little blue dot appeared on the map, right in my driveway. There I was, visible, traceable. I took a breath and reminded myself why I was doing this. Not to punish Marcus, not to prove I was smarter than him, but to save him from whatever he'd gotten himself into before it destroyed him, and my granddaughter in the process. That evening, I sent Marcus the text I'd been rehearsing in my head. Hey baby, I'm getting the SUV detailed Thursday. Can you pick it up Wednesday night and bring it back Friday? Save me a trip. 3 minutes later. Sure, Mama, I got you. I stared at those words until they blurred. My son, who I'd rocked to sleep as a baby, who'd cried in my arms when his father left, who'd graduated high school and hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. He had no idea what I was about to do. Wednesday night came too fast. Marcus arrived at 7:48 p.m., right on time. I handed him the keys and hugged him at the door. Thanks for helping me out, baby. Anytime, Mama. That's what family's for. I watched him drive away, then immediately went inside and opened the tracking app on my phone. The blue dot moved down Pine Hollow Drive, turned onto Roswell Road, and headed south. I followed the dot with my finger on the screen, my heart pounding. He wasn't going home to Smyrna. He was going somewhere else. 23 minutes later, the dot stopped moving. The location read Whitaker Auto Bays, 2847 Roswell Road, Marietta. I opened the dashcam app with shaking hands and hit Live View. The image was grainy in the dark, but I could see enough. Marcus had parked in front of a garage door, Bay 7, according to a faded number painted on the metal. He got out, unlocked the door with a key, and disappeared inside. For 41 minutes, nothing happened. I sat on my couch, phone in hand, barely breathing, watching an empty parking lot. Then the garage door rolled up and 3 men came out. Marcus was one of them. The second man was older, mid-50s, heavy build, bald head, wearing a leather jacket. The third was younger, maybe early 20s, skinny and jittery like he couldn't stand still. They were carrying things. Black duffel bags. Cardboard boxes with no markings. They loaded everything into the back of my Explorer, talking in low voices I couldn't hear through the dash cam. The older man put his hand on Marcus's shoulder and said something that made Marcus nod quickly, nervously. Then they closed the cargo door and Marcus got back in the driver's seat. I watched my son drive away from that garage, my vehicle loaded with God knows what, and I felt something break inside me. This wasn't a side job. This wasn't deliveries for extra cash. My son was part of something organized, something planned, something that involved other people who clearly had more control than he did. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my living room with my phone on my lap, watching the tracker as Marcus made stops around Metro Atlanta. 3 locations total. A quick trip off Delk Road at 9:34 p.m., a storage facility in Smyrna at 10:18 p.m., a townhouse complex in Sandy Springs at 11:02 p.m. Each stop lasted between 6 and 12 minutes. At the quick trip, I watched through the dash cam as a woman in a white Lexus pulled up beside him. Marcus handed her one of the duffel bags through his window. She didn't even get out of her car. I took screenshots of everything. License plates, faces, locations, timestamps. By the time Marcus returned my Explorer Friday morning, I had a USB drive full of evidence. He walked in, smiling, handed me the keys, and kissed my cheek. "Thanks, Mama. You're the best." I hugged him and felt his heart racing under his shirt. "Anytime, baby." As soon as he left, I sat down at my kitchen table and cried. Not because I didn't know what to do next, but because I knew exactly what I had to do, and it was going to hurt both of us in ways I couldn't take back. I picked up my phone and called the number my church friend had given me, the one whose nephew worked for Atlanta PD Major Crimes. Organized criminal activity often involves multiple participants and distribution networks operating across different locations. It was time to bring in the law. I met Detective Alana Brooks on Saturday morning at a Panera Bread off Barrett Parkway. Neutral ground. Public. A place where I could leave if I changed my mind. She was younger than I expected. Early 40s, sharp brown eyes, hair pulled back in a tight bun. She wore jeans and a blazer, no uniform, and when she shook my hand, her grip was firm and steady. "Miss Carter," she said, sliding into the booth across from me. "I appreciate you reaching out. My colleague said you have some concerns about your son." I nodded, my throat tight. "I think he's involved in something illegal. I have proof." I pulled out my phone and showed her everything. The dash cam footage of the garage, the tracker log showing all 3 stops Thursday night, the screenshots of the woman in the white Lexus, the license plate, the duffel bag exchange. Detective Brooks watched without interrupting, her expression unreadable. When the footage ended, she leaned back and let out a slow breath. "Miss Carter, what you're showing me looks like organized retail crime, ORC. These groups hit big box stores, Target, Home Depot, Lowe's, Ulta, steal high-value items in bulk, then resell them online or through fences. It's a multi-million-dollar operation in Metro Atlanta." My stomach dropped. "Stealing? Marcus is stealing?" "He's involved, yes, but he's not running it." She pointed at the older man on my screen. "That man, we've been watching him for 6 months. His name is Vincent Cole. He recruits drivers, usually people with clean records and safe-looking vehicles. Your Explorer fits that profile perfectly. Soccer mom, retired teacher, no priors. Nobody looks twice." I felt sick. "So he used me?" "Yes, ma'am. And he's using your son, too. People like Cole don't care about their drivers. When things go south, the drivers take the fall while Cole disappears." "What happens now?" I whispered. Brooks leaned forward, her voice gentle but direct. We can set up a controlled operation. Next time your son uses your vehicle, we follow him, document the drops, and move in when we have enough evidence to take down the entire network. But Ms. Carter, you need to understand. Your son will be arrested. He'll be charged. Depending on the value of stolen goods and his level of involvement, he could be looking at years in prison. I closed my eyes. And if I do nothing? Eventually, they get caught anyway, or someone gets hurt during a theft, or your son ends up dead because he tried to walk away and Cole didn't let him. At least this way, you control the timing. You give him a chance to cooperate, to reduce his sentence, to rebuild his life. I thought about Nia, about her sweet face, asking me where Daddy was, about her growing up, visiting her father in prison, or worse, growing up without him at all, because I stayed silent. I'll help you, I said, my voice breaking, but I want one thing. When you arrest him, I want to be there. I want him to see my face and know I chose to save him, even if he hates me forever. Brooks nodded slowly. We can arrange that. What do I do now? Act normal. Don't change anything. If he asks to borrow your vehicle again, say yes. We'll handle the rest. And Ms. Carter, don't tell anyone about this. Not your friends. Not your pastor. Not his wife. The fewer people who know, the safer everyone is. I left Panera 20 minutes later, my hands shaking so hard I could barely unlock my car. I sat in the driver's seat for a long time, staring at nothing, trying to breathe. I'd just agreed to help the police arrest my own son. When I got home, Tasha called, Marcus's wife. Her voice was tight, scared. Miss Denise, I need to talk to you. Something's wrong with Marcus. He's lying to me about where he's going. He's losing weight. He won't let me see his phone. I think he's seeing someone else. My heart broke for her. Tasha, baby, it's not an affair. Then what is it? I can't tell you yet, but I need you to trust me. Keep Nia close. Don't let Marcus take her anywhere without you knowing exactly where they're going. Can you do that for me? There was a long silence. You know something. Soon, baby. I promise. I'll explain everything soon. She hung up without saying goodbye. I sat in my kitchen that night, staring at a photo of Marcus at 8 years old, gap-toothed and smiling, holding up a certificate from his school science fair. That little boy believed in right and wrong. He believed in fairness and honesty and doing the hard thing even when it scared you. I taught him that. And now I was about to prove it. Criminal networks often recruit individuals with clean backgrounds to minimize suspicion during transportation of illegal goods. If you felt your stomach drop right there, subscribe, because the next few minutes are where everything flips and he doesn't see it coming. The next 10 days felt like holding my breath underwater. Detective Brooks and her team worked fast, securing warrants for surveillance on Whitaker Auto Bays, running background checks on Vincent Cole and his known associates, building a case that would hold up in court. I went about my life like nothing had changed. I picked up Nia from school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, made her after-school snacks, helped her practice her spelling words. She'd climb into my lap and tell me about her day, and I'd smile and nod while my mind screamed with the secret I was carrying. Marcus came by twice during those 10 days. Once to drop off Nia, once to borrow my leaf blower. Both times he acted normal, tired, distracted, but normal. He hugged me, called me Mama, told me he loved me. And every time, I wanted to grab him by the shoulders and shake him, tell him to stop, beg him to walk away before it was too late. But Detective Brooks's words echoed in my head. Act normal. Don't tip him off. So I smiled and said, I love you too, baby, and watched him leave, knowing what was coming. On the 8th day, Tasha called me again. This time, she was crying. "Miss Denise, I can't do this anymore. Marcus is lying to me every single day. He comes home at 2 in the morning smelling like cigarettes and sweat. He won't tell me where he's been. He snaps at Nia when she asks him to play. I feel like I'm losing him." I closed my eyes, gripping the phone so hard my knuckles went white. "Tasha, listen to me very carefully. You're not losing him, but something is happening, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. I need you to be strong for Nia. Can you do that?" "What's happening?" Her voice cracked. "Please, just tell me." "I can't. Not yet. But I promise you, I'm trying to protect all of you, even Marcus." "Protect us from what?" I couldn't answer that. "Keep Nia close, Tasha, and whatever happens in the next few days, remember that I love that boy. Everything I'm doing is because I love him." She was silent for a long moment. Then, quietly, "You're scaring me." "I know, baby. I'm sorry." After we hung up, I sat at my kitchen table and cried. Not because I was changing my mind, but because I knew Tasha would hate me soon. Marcus would hate me. Maybe even Nia would grow up hearing stories about the grandmother who destroyed their family. But at least they'd all still be alive to hate me. Wednesday afternoon, my phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. "Hey mama, can I grab the truck tomorrow night? Got a big delivery job lined up. Pays really good." My hands shook as I typed back, "Of course, baby. Keys in the visor like always." I immediately called Detective Brooks. "He's taking it tomorrow," I said, my voice barely steady. "We're ready. Stay home tomorrow night, Miss Carter. Don't follow him. Don't try to watch. We've got plainclothes units stationed near Whitaker Auto Bays and at each of his usual drop points. Once he loads up, we move." "Will he be safe?" "We'll do everything we can to keep everyone safe, but you need to prepare yourself. This is going to be traumatic for your son and for you." "I know." "Ms. Carter, are you sure about this? Because once we move, there's no taking it back." I looked at the photo of Marcus on my mantle, the 8-year-old with the gap-toothed smile. "I'm sure." That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the house settle, thinking about all the moments that had led here. Marcus's first steps. His first day of school. The day his father left, and Marcus asked me, "Did I do something wrong, Mama?" And I held him and promised him he was loved, he was enough, he was going to be okay. I'd spent 39 years trying to keep that promise, and tomorrow I was going to break his heart to save his life. At 2:17 a.m., I got out of bed and knelt beside it. I wasn't a perfect Christian, didn't go to church every Sunday anymore, but I prayed that night like I hadn't prayed in years. God, if you're listening, please let this be the right thing. Please let Marcus survive this. Please let him understand someday that I didn't do this to hurt him. I did it because losing him to prison for 5 years is better than losing him forever. Please let him forgive me, even if it takes the rest of my life. Amen. Thursday passed in slow motion. I cleaned my house, did laundry, made myself eat lunch, even though every bite tasted like chalk. At 6:47 p.m., Marcus pulled into my driveway. I met him at the door with the keys. "Thanks, Mama," he said, kissing my cheek. "I'll have it back by morning." "Be safe, baby." He smiled, that same easy smile that used to light up a room. Always. I watched him drive away in my Explorer, the dashcam recording, the tracker pinging, the police already moving into position. And I whispered the words I couldn't say to his face. "I love you, Marcus. I'm so sorry. Law enforcement operations targeting organized retail theft. often involve controlled surveillance and coordinated takedowns at distribution points to dismantle entire networks. At 9:14 p.m., the tracker showed Marcus arriving at Whitaker Auto Bays. Detective Brooks had told me to stay home, to stay off my phone, to let them handle it. I tried. I sat on my couch for exactly 11 minutes, staring at the tracker dot on my phone screen, my chest so tight I could barely breathe. Then I grabbed my keys and left. I knew I shouldn't. I knew Brooks would be furious. But this was my son, my baby. And if something went wrong, if he ran, if he panicked, if someone got hurt, I needed to be close. I needed to know. I drove to a Waffle House about a quarter-mile from Whitaker Auto Bays and parked where I had a clear view of Roswell Road. My phone was on the passenger seat, the tracker app open, Marcus's blue dot blinking steadily at the garage. At 9:33 p.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Detective Brooks. Stay home. Do not come here. I didn't respond. At 9:47 p.m., I saw the first unmarked police car roll past the Waffle House, lights off, moving slow. Then another. Then a marked Atlanta PD unit, followed by two more unmarked vehicles. My heart hammered against my ribs. At 9:51 p.m., I heard the sirens. They cut through the night like knives. Sharp, sudden, unmistakable. Blue lights flickered in the distance, painting the dark sky in strobe flashes. My phone rang. Detective Brooks. Miss Carter, where are you? I'm close, I whispered. Is he okay? He tried to run. We stopped him. No one's hurt, but you need to stay where you are. Do not come to the scene. Do you understand me? Is he arrested? Yes. Him, Vincent Cole. 2 other drivers, and 1 fence. We recovered approximately $180,000 in stolen merchandise from the garage, electronics, designer handbags, power tools, cosmetics. This is a major bust, Miss Carter. Your son is facing serious charges. I closed my eyes, tears streaming down my face. Can I see him? Not tonight. He's being processed at the Cobb County Jail. You can visit tomorrow afternoon. I'll arrange it. Detective, my voice broke. Thank you for keeping him safe. There was a pause. Miss Carter, I've been doing this job for 17 years. I've seen a lot of parents turn their backs on their kids when things get bad. What you did tonight, helping us, giving us the evidence, choosing the hard thing instead of the easy thing, that took more courage than most people have. Your son doesn't see it now, but one day he will. I hope you're right. I know I am. Go home, get some rest. Tomorrow's going to be hard. She hung up. I sat in that Waffle House parking lot for another hour, watching the blue lights in the distance, watching the tow trucks arrive to impound my Explorer as evidence, watching the police cars finally leave one by one. My son was in a jail cell. Because of me. I drove home in Tasha's old Camry that I'd borrowed earlier in the week, my hands shaking on the wheel. When I pulled into my driveway, I saw someone sitting on my front porch. Tasha. She stood up when she saw me, her face streaked with tears. They arrested him, she said, her voice hollow. Marcus called me from jail. He said you set him up, that you put cameras in your car. That you called the police. Tell me he's wrong, Miss Denise. Tell me you didn't do this. I looked at this woman, this good woman who loved my son, who'd given me my granddaughter, who was about to lose everything she'd built. I did it, I said quietly. I found out what Marcus was doing, and I called the police. Tasha's face crumpled. How could you? He's your son. That's exactly why I did it. I stepped closer, my voice steady even as my heart shattered. Vincent Cole was using Marcus. If I let it continue, Marcus would have ended up dead or in prison for 20 years. At least this way, he has a chance. He can cooperate. He can get a deal. He can come home to Nia someday. "He hates you," Tasha whispered. "He told me to tell you he never wants to see you again." I nodded, tears blurring my vision. "I know. And I'll carry that for the rest of my life. But he's alive, Tasha. He's alive and he has a future, even if that future doesn't include me." Tasha stared at me for a long moment, then turned and walked to her car without another word. I stood alone in my driveway, watching her taillights disappear, and whispered into the empty night, "I love you, Marcus. Even if you never forgive me, I love you." If you're still here, you already know this isn't about money, it's about survival. Subscribe, because the way this trap closes is the most satisfying part of the whole story. Organized retail crime operations often involve coordinated networks of thieves and resellers working across multiple jurisdictions. Friday afternoon, I drove to the Cobb County Jail. Detective Brooks had arranged for a visit, 30 minutes, supervised, through reinforced glass with phones on either side. I signed in at the front desk, went through security, and waited in a cold room with fluorescent lights that buzzed overhead. Other visitors sat around me, mothers, wives, girlfriends, all wearing the same exhausted expression. We were the ones who showed up, the ones who didn't abandon. When they called my name, my legs almost didn't carry me. The visitation room was divided by thick plexiglass. I sat in the plastic chair and waited, my hands folded in my lap to keep them from shaking. Then they brought him in. Marcus was wearing an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed in front of him. He looked thinner than he had 2 days ago, his eyes red-rimmed and hollow. When he saw me through the glass, his entire face hardened into something I didn't recognize. He sat down and picked up the phone. I picked up mine. "You did this," he said. His voice was flat, dead. "Yes. You put cameras in your truck. You tracked me. You called the cops. You set me up like I was some stranger on the street. You used my vehicle to commit crimes without telling me. You put me at risk. You lied to me, to Tasha, to Nia. You chose this path, Marcus. I just chose to stop you before you couldn't come back from it." His jaw clenched. "You didn't give me a chance to fix it myself." "Baby, I gave you that chance. I asked you if you were in trouble. I told you I was here to help. You looked me in the eyes and lied." "Because I knew you'd do exactly this." His voice cracked, loud enough that the guard glanced our way. "I knew you'd panic and overreact and try to control everything like you always do." "Control?" I leaned forward, my own voice rising. "Marcus, you were working for Vincent Cole, a man who's been running theft rings across 3 counties for 6 years. A man who doesn't care if his drivers go to prison or end up dead. You think you could have just walked away from him? You think he would have let you quit?" Marcus looked away. "I was handling it." "You weren't handling anything. You were drowning. And I wasn't going to stand on the shore and watch you drown because you were too proud to ask for a life preserver. So you destroyed my life instead. You took away my freedom, my wife, my daughter. You ruined everything." "I saved your life," my voice broke. "Do you understand that? Vincent Cole is facing 12 years. 12. If you'd stayed with him another month, another week, you'd be facing the same. Or worse, you'd be the one who got caught during a theft and ended up shot by store security. Is that what you wanted? For Nia to grow up visiting your grave instead of visiting you here?" Marcus slammed his fist against the counter, his eyes filling with tears. "I needed the money, Mama. I needed it. Tasha's student loans are crushing us. Nia's school costs a fortune. I got laid off 6 months ago and I didn't tell anyone because I was ashamed. Vincent offered me a way out and I took it. I thought I could do a few runs, pay off the debt, and walk away clean." My heart shattered. "Baby, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you ask me for help?" Because you don't have money either. You live on a fixed income. I wasn't going to ask my 62-year-old mother to bail me out of my own mess. So you chose crime instead. You chose to risk everything. Your freedom, your family, your life, instead of trusting me. Marcus stared at me, tears streaming down his face. I thought I could protect you. I thought if I kept you out of it, you'd never have to know. I thought I was being a man, Mama, taking care of my family. Men who take care of their families don't lie to them. They don't use them. They don't put them at risk. I wiped my eyes. Marcus, I know you're angry. I know you hate me right now, but Detective Brooks says if you cooperate, if you give them names, routes, contacts, they'll work with the DA. You could get 5 years instead of 15. You could be home with Nia before she graduates high school. And you think that makes this okay? No, but it makes it survivable. Marcus hung up the phone without another word and stood. The guard came to take him back. He didn't look at me as he walked away. I sat there alone, the dial tone buzzing in my ear, and whispered, I love you, baby. Even when you hate me, I love you. Criminal defendants who cooperate with law enforcement investigations often receive reduced sentences through plea agreements with prosecutors. 6 months later, Marcus was serving a 5-year sentence at Hayes State Prison in Northwest Georgia. He'd taken the plea deal Detective Brooks negotiated, full cooperation in exchange for reduced charges. The information he provided led to 9 total arrests, including Vincent Cole and 2 fences who'd been operating across the Southeast. Tasha filed for divorce 3 months after his sentencing. She moved back in with her parents in Roswell and got a restraining order against Marcus's known associates, Detective Brooks's recommendation. She was scared, angry, and heartbroken, but she let me see Nia every weekend, and for that, I was grateful. Nia asked about her daddy constantly. Why can't he come home, Grandma? Did he do something bad? I told her the truth in words an 8-year-old could understand. Your daddy made some choices that hurt people, baby. And now he's in a place where he's learning how to make better choices. He loves you very much. He thinks about you every single day. Does he hate you? The question hit me like a fist. Maybe, I don't know, but even if he does, I'd make the same choice again. Because keeping people safe is more important than keeping them happy. Nia thought about that, then hugged me. I think you're brave, Grandma. I held her tight and tried not to cry. 3 months into his sentence, I received a letter. The handwriting was Marcus's, messy, slanted, written on thin prison stationery. Mama, I'm in a program here, cognitive behavioral therapy, they call it. It's supposed to help me understand why I made the choices I made. My counselor says I need to take responsibility instead of blaming other people. I'm not ready to forgive you yet. I don't know if I ever will be. But I'm starting to understand why you did it. Vincent called me last week from his prison. He said if I'd stayed with him, I'd be facing 15 to 20 years minimum. He said I got lucky. I don't feel lucky, but I guess I'm alive. And I guess that counts for something. Tell Nia I love her. Tell her daddy's learning how to be better. Tell her I'll make her proud one day. I'm in a carpentry program now. Building furniture. It's hard work, but I'm good at it. When I get out, maybe I can build her a bookshelf or something. Something with my own hands that didn't come from stealing. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying, Mama. I'm really trying. Marcus. I read that letter 20 times, crying harder each time. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't reconciliation. But it was a start. It was my son admitting he had a future worth fighting for. I wrote him back that same night, told him I was proud of him, told him Nia missed him, told him I'd be there when he got out, whether he wanted me there or not. Because that's what mothers do. Today, Nia is 9 years old. She plays piano, makes straight A's, and talks about wanting to be a veterinarian when she grows up. She writes letters to her daddy every month, and he writes back. She keeps them in a shoebox under her bed. Tasha is dating someone new, a teacher from Nia's school. He's kind, patient, good with kids. I've met him twice. He seems like a decent man. I hope he makes her happy. As for me, I live alone in the same house on Pine Hollow Drive. I volunteer at my church, babysit Nia on weekends, and visit Marcus once a month. He talks to me now. Short conversations, surface-level topics, nothing deep. But he talks. And that's more than I had 6 months ago. People ask me if I regret it, if I wish I'd handled things differently. The answer is no, because Marcus is alive. He's getting help. He's learning a trade. In 3 years, he'll be eligible for parole. He'll have a chance to rebuild his relationship with Nia, to restart his life, to become the man I always knew he could be. That wouldn't have happened if I'd done nothing. Vincent Cole doesn't offer retirement plans. Marcus would have ended up dead, or in prison for life, or responsible for someone else getting hurt. Instead, he has a future. It's not the future I wanted for him, but it's a future. And that's what love looks like sometimes. Not happiness, not comfort, not even forgiveness. Just survival, just showing up. Just making the hard choice because the alternative is unthinkable. I still have the photo of 8-year-old Marcus on my mantle. The gap-toothed smile, the science fair certificate, the light in his eyes. That boy still exists somewhere inside the man in prison. And I'm going to keep believing in him until he comes home. If you made it to the end, you're real. Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because the next revenge story is even crazier. And comment this. Should a mother ever forgive a son who used her as cover? Or is he permanently cut off? Family members of incarcerated individuals often maintain relationships through regular correspondence and visitation to support rehabilitation and eventual reintegration.